One thing we should all learn from men as women is putting ourselves first. Yeah. A man will leave a woman with kids all because he's putting himself first. A man will choose to cheat on you all because he's putting his happiness first. Yeah. A man will lie to you all because he's protecting his peace. So in conclusion, as a woman, stop being selfless and start being a little bit more selfish. Yeah. Put yourself first because men will always put themselves first. And don't feel guilty about it at all.
There is a conversation happening all over social media about women choosing themselves. Some people think it's selfish, others think it's long overdue. For years, women were expected to keep a relationship together. Now that many of them aren't willing to do that anymore, suddenly it's being called a problem. Let's unpack why this shift is happening.
I feel like one of the reasons that shit's actually crumbling right now is because women are finally choosing ourselves. We are owning our own businesses, our own houses. We're getting divorced. We're like, I'm not interested in a boyfriend if he's not providing for me. Women are finally awakening to our value and our worth and what we bring to the table, and we're finally choosing ourselves. And that's making a big difference for the systems and structures that we've been indoctrinated into. That comes from the toxic patriarchy, the way that men have been in charge and the way that men have been running things, and the way that we've been growing up in a world that wasn't meant for us, that wasn't built for us. And now we're finally like, I'm done with that and I want to build something else.
I just came across a post that a man made where he was saying that 85% of women are no longer interested in dating, and he was asking women to comment and, explain like, why is that? And there was some good comments in there, but one in particular caught my attention because this lady said, well, men were taught strategy and women were taught romance. And I was just like, ding, 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 because that's so true, right? And I feel like men are always kind of like acting out of self-interest, and I think that women have like that romance bubble has almost burst, and now we are also acting on our own self-interest. And I think that we are starting to find that a lot of our self-interests actually don't align with men. Like, they just don't. And it's just, I don't know, it's nice to just have peace. You know what I mean? Like,
so women got tired of carrying the relationship alone. You can as well call it emotional labor. A lot of women didn't suddenly wake up one morning and decide they didn't care anymore. That's usually the last chapter, not the first one. Before that, there were years of trying to make things work. Years of reminding a grown man about basic respect, asking for communication, explaining the same hurt over and over again, hoping that this time he would finally understand. At some point, you ask yourself why you're putting more effort into keeping the relationship alive than the person who is also benefiting from it. So why are you the only one checking in? Why are you the only one trying to fix every disagreement? Why does every serious conversation somehow become your responsibility? A healthy relationship shouldn't feel like a full-time customer service job where you're constantly managing someone else's emotion while yours are being ignored. And then men act shocked when a woman finally checks out emotionally. So choosing yourself doesn't mean you've become cold. It only means you finally accepted that love isn't supposed to require you to abandon yourself just to keep someone else comfortable. If a man only appreciates you after you've completely burned yourself out trying to love him, then he wasn't appreciating you at all. He was only benefiting from your labor.
I love that women are waking up and not giving a fuck anymore. Like, that just gives me all the feels. Angela says, I just turned 45. I just do not give a fuck anymore. If I had known that even 10 years ago, this is a wake-up call. And this is what I believe. Women are waking up. We are waking up slowly, but we are waking up and realizing how we have been treated, how we have been conditioned. Enough is enough. And so when you're waking up to your life, you're realizing that everything that you settled for, everything that you believed, everything that you sacrificed for, was it really worth it? And then also realizing how long you've been in survival mode, how you have been in relationships, friendships, careers, environments where you haven't felt emotionally safe. where you haven't felt safe in your body, where your nervous system was dysregulated. You're walking around on eggshells. And I think there comes a time when you get to a point, and I'm guessing it's your 40s, where you're like, I'm done. I'm done. And I'm going to show up how I want to show up. I'm going to live how I want to live. And I wish we could do this sooner, but I think the point is, as long as you get there, that's the only thing that matters. So yeah, I want more of us to stop giving a fuck and start waking up and living our true lives.
So another reason why women are choosing themselves is because peace became more valuable than being chosen. We're actually talking about self-worth here. So for a very long time, women were being taught that being in a relationship was somehow a proof that they were successful. It didn't even matter if they were constantly anxious, crying every week, losing sleep, or questioning themselves every day. As long as there was a man, people acted like it was enough. But thankfully, a lot of women don't see life that way anymore. So being single is no longer automatically viewed as a terrible outcome. Plenty of women have realized that a quiet apartment where they can sleep peacefully is better than sharing a house with someone who constantly creates stress. So that's why men are confused. They assume that women are playing hard to get, when in reality, they are protecting the peace they've worked so hard to build. The standards have changed, and you're not competing with other women anymore. You're competing with a woman's peace. So if being with you makes her life heavier than being alone, why would she choose that?
Fellas, when a woman chooses herself and peace after the relationship is over, you're done. But when she chooses herself and peace, all she wants is peace. She don't want to be bothered with nobody. She don't want to be bothered with you or anybody. And once you push a woman to that point, she's at the point of no return.
I promise you, the highest form of self-love is being a leaver.
Why are you running?
Because choosing yourself in any situation is quite literally always the right answer. Because especially as women, we'll sit and we'll suffer and we'll go through so much that we don't need to go through, feeling like we need the concrete evidence, we need the answer. And I honor myself by just acknowledging that something to me does not feel right. That feeling sometimes is all you need.
So let's talk about attachments. Women are no longer afraid of walking away. Walking away used to be one of the hardest things for many women because they were constantly told that staying proved they were loyal, like the way our parents did. But staying isn't always loyal. Sometimes it is called fear. Fear of starting over, the fear of being judged by society, fear of ending up alone. So more women are realizing that those fears aren't good enough reasons to remain in relationships that constantly drain them. Leaving doesn't mean you've stopped loving somebody. Sometimes it means you finally started loving yourself enough to admit that the relationship wasn't healthy. A woman shouldn't have to lose her confidence, her identity, her mental health just to say she kept a relationship together. Real love shouldn't require endless suffering as a proof of commitment. Women are saying they don't care anymore, they simply care about themselves now. And that's exactly how it should be.
The day you finally choose yourself is the day your power actually comes back. It is the day that the things that are making you cry now will never ever have power over you again. It is the day that you will be able to think clearer and actually move forward with all those self-developmental plans you've been having. It is the day you will realize that the exit plan is just an excuse in the mind that keeps a woman in the same stagnant place for a very long time.
A woman who chooses herself will never wait to be chosen. She's not waiting for a text, a promotion, or an apology. She's in motion. She keeps her nails done and does her hair and makeup like she has places to be, because she does. She takes herself on dates, reads the books that makes her better, and invests in the coach that keeps her accountable. She shows up online like the brand she's building depends on it. She doesn't shrink to fit rooms. She polishes herself until she belongs in better ones. Because she knows every time she pours into herself, her standards rise. And anything that doesn't meet her there, she walks away gracefully. She knows the most expensive thing that she could ever lose is herself. That's why she invests in her habits like assets, because becoming that woman is a full-time job. And when your habits match your vision, life starts meeting you at your level.
We finally live in a generation where women are decentering the ideas of relationships. They're decentering men, and they're realizing that their life is more fulfilling. And it's because women bring the entire table to the table, while men are sitting there like, I'm still trying to decide on my dating goals. What the fuck are you trying to decide on, Jim? You're 45 years old. If you don't know what you want to do in your dating life, maybe you should kind of do some inner work and go to therapy and figure out what it is you need. Because there is no way in any world that I would date someone or even consider dating someone who, one, doesn't know what they want out of life or dating or anything else, and doesn't want to be committed. And those two things are so common.
So let's talk about mixed signals. They are no longer attractive. There used to be this idea that inconsistency somehow made a man mysterious. Yes, back then. But he disappears for 3 days, then suddenly he's blowing up your phone. He's affectionate 1 week and emotionally unavailable the next week. Some people used to call that excitement then, but most women now call it exhausting because they are tired. Nobody should have to decode whether someone likes them. If you're constantly confused about where you stand, then that's already giving you the information you need. Because an inconsistent man doesn't deserve your peace. So healthy relationships don't leave you guessing or second guessing every day. It's amazing how quickly things become clear when women stop chasing mixed signals and start paying attention to consistent behavior instead.
If you feel like you have to eliminate certain things in your life to make you feel like your best self, you shouldn't feel guilty for that. Somebody told me something before that really stuck with me. Putting yourself first doesn't mean that you're being selfish. I feel like a lot of the times I kind of forget about myself, and I'm just always worried about pleasing others. And it's okay to be a little bit selfish sometimes. I always want to be considerate of others and other people's feelings, but we can't forget how we are feeling ultimately. A lot of us spend so much time thinking about what's going to make other people happy, and then we forget about us. And at the end of the day, we only have ourselves for the rest of our lives. So we want to make sure that we're also feeling happy.
Choosing yourself is the real glow up. The real glow up is not just about looking better, it's being better for yourself. Because when you start to prioritize your peace, your health, your mental space, you start to see subtle changes, and then you realize everything shifts. You stop chasing people who give you crumbs. You stop begging for bare minimum energy.
Women have stopped waiting for potentials. Potential has kept a lot of women stuck for years. He will change. He just needs more time. He's been through a lot. Meanwhile, months become years. A lot of women are finally asking a direct question now. Instead of asking who he would become, like our parents, they're asking who he is today, because your future is built with the person standing in front of you, not with the imaginary version you've created in your head. It's really unfair when women are expected to gamble years of their lives waiting for a man to eventually become emotionally responsible. Growth is wonderful when someone is actually doing the work, but nobody should be expected to sacrifice their timeline because another adult refuses to take responsibility for theirs. So choosing yourself sometimes means accepting reality instead of falling in love with possibility.
And suddenly, you're glowing different. And I don't mean that metaphorically. I mean that literally. Less stress, and I didn't say no stress, but less stress in certain aspects of life. More peace, more zen, and it shows on your face, in your body, in your interactions, in your energy, and how you show up. The transformation, some people will call it selfish, whatever. Others will say you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. You should change. Because choosing yourself isn't about leaving people behind. It's about leaving behind the version of you that settled for less.
I am in my leave me the fuck alone era. I am so genuinely now focused on my life, my wants, my needs, that I am, leave me the fuck alone. Don't even approach me. Don't even look at me. Don't talk to me. I've deleted my Hinge. I've deleted my Instagram. I've deleted everything but TikTok, and I am genuinely, for the first time, just focused on myself. I feel like I am attracting things that I do not want into my life, so now I'm going through a personal rebrand because I'm not liking the things that I'm attracting. I'm not liking the situations that keep coming in and out of my life. So now what I want to do is completely eliminate everything and just completely focus on myself.
And one thing that I always am envious about men is how they are able to be so selfish. Like, selfish in a way where, like, they are always going to choose themselves and put themselves first. And I feel like most women are not wired like that. We are just natural nurturers, carers. We always want to see the best in people and try to help and all that stuff. It's just in us. But a man is always going to choose him first. Meanwhile, we will put our lives on hold, hoping, wishing, praying that we get picked or that he chooses us. Or I'm not going to date other guys, or I'm not going to move and go to school in this city just in case. And why? Because if the roles was reversed, he would be out of here.
Men have always chosen themselves first. They've always been selfish. Like, for a long time, women have been encouraged to put their lives on hold for the sake of a relationship. Don't take the job because it's too far. Delay your dreams because his career comes first. Move to support his opportunities. Be patient while he figures himself out. Keep sacrificing because one day he'll appreciate everything you've done. But here's the question. If the role was reversed, would he do the same for you? If his dream job was in another city, would he turn it down because you weren't ready to move? If an opportunity comes that will change his life, would he pass it up to protect your comfort? So, in many cases, the answer is no. A lot of men are taught from a young age to prioritize their goals, their future, and their ambition first. Society even applauds them for it, yet women don't even get the exact same thing. She's suddenly called selfish, difficult, or accused of not caring about relationships. So choosing yourself doesn't mean you don't value love. It means you're no longer willing to disappear inside a relationship. A healthy partner shouldn't expect you to abandon your own future just so that theirs can flourish. Women have spent generations believing that proving their love meant endless sacrifice. Meanwhile, plenty of men have no problem making decisions based on what's best for their own lives. So stop waiting for someone else to choose you before you choose yourself. Build your career, chase your goals, protect your peace, create a life that makes you proud, whether you are single or in a relationship, because the right man won't ask you to shrink your life so he can feel bigger. He wants to build a future where both of you can grow, not one where your dreams are constantly the first thing that is sacrificed.
He gonna take that job. He gonna have that baby. Okay? Men will always put themselves first. We need to take a page out of their book and choose yourself first. Don't wait for a man or anybody to choose you. You choose you. Okay? I had to learn the hard way. I'm still learning, because sometimes I still have moments where I'm like, oh, maybe this, or no. Because the man ain't thinking like that. He always going to choose him. Always.
They'll call you selfish. And you know what? Let them. Because the truth is, the world has conditioned women to believe that putting ourselves first is wrong. But if you don't prioritize yourself, no one else will. For so long, we've been taught that our worth is tied to how much we give, how much we sacrifice. We've been praised for being selfless, for putting everyone else's needs above our own. But where has that left us as women, besides burnt out and resentful, and completely disconnected from who we are? So, being selfish, it isn't about neglecting others. It's about showing up for yourself. It's about saying, hey, I matter too. Because when you start valuing your own needs and your own dreams and your own peace, you're not just healing yourself. You're setting a new standard for everyone around you.
And on the topic of choosing yourself, you have to realize that when you choose yourself, that basically clears out the possibility of you dealing with a toxic man who is absolutely no good for you, a narcissistic man, a man that you don't need in your life, a man that's going to bring you nothing but sorrow and pain and troubles and just basically bring your life down. Okay? When you choose yourself, that means you love yourself. And that means you have boundaries. And that means you have standards. And that means you know exactly what you will and what you won't accept, right? People who are pick-me's, they basically accept any and everything. Any and everything. So it's like they just want to be picked. It's almost like anybody could come. Anybody. I literally saw a post the other day and this girl was like, the only requirement you need to be is male. And that was her standard. She just wanted a man. She had no other standards. And that's when you attract those types of men. That's literally going to ruin your life. Okay? So that's another reason why it's so important to pick yourself. So you clear out the probability of dealing with these super toxic, narcissistic, unhealed men who want to do nothing more than destroy your life. So pick yourself.
Some men resent women who no longer need saving. It will interest you to know how some men become uncomfortable the moment a woman builds a life she's genuinely happy with. She has friends, she has goals, she enjoys her own company. She isn't desperate for male validation, and instead of celebrating that, some men will immediately try to humble her. They call her difficult, they will say she's too independent, they insist that no man will want her. Why? Just because her confidence is harder to manipulate now than her insecurity. She's no longer that insecure woman they used to know, and she can't be controlled any longer. The women choosing themselves aren't rejecting love. They are rejecting relationships that require them to become smaller just to make someone else's ego feel bigger.
So let's talk about what it means to choose yourself over love. The biggest misconception is people think that if you're choosing yourself over a relationship, that you're basically saying, I'm giving up on love. And that's not at all what you're doing. It's not black and white. It's not, either you're in love with this person that you're with and in a relationship with them, or you're single and you're alone for the rest of your life. The thing is that choosing yourself is about recognizing that certain relationships have costs. And if it's costing you your peace, your self-worth, your sense of self, your happiness, then that is a huge price to pay. Because love should add to your life, not cost you things. And that's very, very important to know.
Why is it that nowadays girls have created this immune system to boys playing them about or being cheeky with them? Nowadays, you love bomb a girl and then try and ghost and they actually don't care. Or if you say something silly at the beginning of when you're talking, or they clock that you're not really meeting their standards, they'll just cut you off. What happened to manipulation, guys? Guys, we need to all clock in. What's going on? I think, who's been giving away these statistics? Well, girls realizing their worth. As in, you can ghost a girl for a week or two and you're thinking, yeah, she's probably gonna blow up your phone. No, nigga. No. You're gonna wake up to you blocked on everything. And you can't even slide back. You can't even spin the block anymore. Girls are realizing their worth. It's dark.
Emotional availability is also becoming the real attraction for women. A lot of women have experienced relationships where the man could flirt, joke around, and be charming in public. But the moment real emotions entered the conversation, he's completely shut down. A woman shouldn't have to shrink her feelings just because a man doesn't know how to handle emotional conversations. Being emotionally available doesn't mean having all the answers. It means you're willing to stay in an uncomfortable conversation without running away or blaming the other person for having emotions. More women are realizing that emotional safety is just as important as physical attraction. That's changing what they look for in a relationship. A woman wants to feel secure. A woman wants to feel she can have real, mature, emotional conversation with a man.
What if choosing yourself isn't selfish, but morally necessary? And I know that might sound dramatic at first because most of us weren't raised to think that way. A lot of women were taught that being good means being available. Be patient, understanding, forgiving, flexible, supportive. Be the soft place. Be the one who knows everybody's needs before they even have to say them out loud. And after a while, you don't even call that self-abandonment. You call it love. You call it marriage. You call it motherhood. You call it being a good daughter, a good wife, a good woman, a good Christian, a good person. And listen, care is beautiful. I don't want to live in a world where nobody sacrifices, nobody considers anybody else, and everybody's just out here confusing boundaries with, I don't know anybody, anything. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a difference between love that asks you to stretch and love that keeps asking you to disappear.
So, talking about shrinking yourself, a lot of women are on this table, directly or indirectly. A lot of us are on this table because we end up devaluing ourselves indirectly when we shrink ourselves for a man or for a relationship. These men will go ahead and better their lives. They get better at work, they upskill, they do things to better themselves, they get promotion, they go to school, but you're here shrinking yourself for a man. Let's take, for example, we have a lot of videos on the internet about stay-at-home moms crashing out on the internet. These women are crashing out that after being married for about 10 to 14, 15 years, they didn't see this divorce coming, or even if they saw it coming, at the end of the day, there is no backing. They don't have financial backing. They don't have anything to offer in the labor market. They did not upskill. They didn't better their lives. They don't have savings. They didn't go to school. They were shrinking themselves. They didn't put themselves first. They were taking care of the home front. And now, at the end of the day, they don't have anything to fall back at. So now, if you don't put yourself first, you have yourself to blame at the end of the day.
We've come to a point in time where women don't care anymore. You play with them once, they're gone forever. Yeah, so all you men that just want to play games with their head, that you want to manipulate them, you want to just use them for some coochie, bro, your time is over, bro. Your time is over. Women know their worth now.
Is there any realm of possibility where you'd let me go to Colombia, Costa Rica, or the Dominican Republic with just me and my friends?
Just go. Have you noticed that I don't care anymore?
I actually have noticed that, and it's pissing me off. Why doesn't she care
That's
anymore?
That's why you're trying to get a rise out of me.
Yeah, you don't care at all anymore.
I know, it's kind of boring, right?
I know.
Fight.
I used to hide my phone. Now she comes over and it's just like girls' asses clapping on Instagram. And she's like, girl power, love it. That's what she'll say to me. She'll be like, you want something to eat, honey? She just doesn't care. So are you having an affair? That's the question.
No, I don't want to be bothered.
You're at that point of the relationship where you just don't even care at all either way.
No.
Indifference.
Don't care.
That's good.
But I love you.
I love you too.
This is a perfect example of women don't care anymore. Women are tired. Women are exhausted. Notice how triggered this man is. His wife doesn't care. She doesn't want to go through his phone. He can have all the fun that he wants to have, and he's simply triggered. Now, instead of taking accountability, he flips the script around and is asking if she's the one cheating. Brother, she is not cheating. She's only putting herself first because she's tired. She doesn't care anymore. She is exhausted. This is the type of mindset these men have.
One thing I know, a woman that doesn't give a fuck anymore was once a woman who cared way too much. Best believe. And a whole heap of woman can testify to this.
So let's see what people are saying in the comment section. This is me. I can't wait to not care anymore. Just walked away from a 5-year relationship. I am that woman 100%. If it doesn't concern my child, I'm Mrs. Nonchalant. I was once that woman 100%. It hurts, but we move on by the grace of God. Now, they say they miss how I used to be. I hear this often. I wish I became that woman soon because it is painful. True facts, because I don't care anymore.
A lot of hands are happier now. And I found out that the reason is because, like, they just don't take niggas seriously anymore. Like, it's not that they changed their lifestyle, or they just don't take niggas seriously anymore.
I'm telling you, when you start putting yourself first as a woman, your life will get exponentially better, okay? Do not do too much. You don't need to do too much for other people. You literally need to focus on yourself. Your self-improvement is your main priority. Looking better, feeling better, being healthier, taking care of your fitness, taking care of your health, putting effort into your mind, growing as a person, enjoying your community of friends, building something solid for yourself is the best thing you can do as a woman. When you pour into yourself and literally do what is best for you at all times, you're going to be golden. You're going to look great. You're going to feel great. Okay? Because when you pour energy and time into yourself, it shows in how you look. It literally shows. You glow better. You're not bloated. You look healthier. You're less stressed. Stop unnecessarily stressing yourself out.
I hate to break it to you niggas, but as a whole, we do not give a fuck about what y'all think anymore. Like, women, as a whole, no longer give a shit about what a nigga thinks. Like, we don't care. Niggas be all on Facebook, oh, well, no real man, no high value man wants a woman that we don't give a fuck. We don't care. What part of this is not the 20s anymore? We don't rely on you to pay our rent. We don't rely on you to survive. We don't need you to open a bank account. We don't legally need you to own a house anymore. In fact, if you look at the statistics, black women are leading the way in purchasing homes, starting businesses, and increasing our higher education. We don't give a fuck about shit y'all talking about no more. Oh, don't no man want no woman that's in the club twerking. Don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Don't no man want no woman that's wearing shorts that we don't give a fuck. We don't care. Don't no man want a woman that's we don't care. We don't give a shit. We don't give a fuck. No one cares.
Another reason why women wouldn't care more or would want to choose themselves is that some men confuse access with love. We're talking about boundaries here. Some men really struggle when a woman starts setting boundaries because they were never interested in earning closeness. They were used to having access. Access means expecting her time whenever you want it, expecting emotional support whenever you're having a bad day, expecting her body, her attention, her patience, while giving very little in return. Love doesn't work like that. The problem isn't that women are choosing themselves. The problem is that some men build relationships that only work because women ignored their needs. Once she starts respecting herself, that arrangement falls apart.
A lot of women these days don't care anymore. A lot of women are no longer male-centered. Yeah, maybe in the past. Not anymore. A lot of women now are beginning to live for themselves. They're buying what they want. They're working hard. They're making money. Some people are doing their little business. I'm not talking about girls that are sleeping with men for money. Obviously, those ones are doing a job. I'm not talking for them. I am speaking for the hardworking women that are not sleeping with men for money. Because I know some women, that's their job, and I'm not judging. Do you? But I'm not speaking for those women. I'm speaking for women like me that were working hard. And this is not out of arrogance, and this is not trying to compete with men, because sometimes men are like, they don't get it. They feel like we're doing it because we're trying to compete with them or we're trying to be equal. That's not the point. It's just we're tired. We are tired. We've seen what happened to our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunties. So we are beginning to take charge of our own lives, working hard. We're beginning to make shit happen for us. Doing businesses, working hard, studying, doing stuff so that we don't have to rely and depend on you guys. It's like you guys are just not getting it. Or maybe you're getting it, you're just, I don't know, being in denial about it. We don't care anymore. Let me even take it further. Some women don't even give a fuck about getting married anymore. Oh, some women are out there, they don't care. Let me take it another step further. Some women don't give a fuck about having kids. Like, it's a new era for women now. And again, I'm not saying this out of arrogance or we're trying to compete with you men. It's just we're tired. We don't care. So we're beginning to make shit happen for us.
So at the end of the day, the biggest shift isn't that women have stopped believing in love. It's that they have stopped believing they have to tolerate disrespect just to keep a relationship. A healthy relationship should bring peace, support, and mutual effort, not constant anxiety and emotional exhaustion. So if this conversation resonated with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I would love to hear your perspective.